Uh, hey, hi,
Hi.
welcome to the Nondescript audio podcast. This is our Dead Silence episode. We have three of us here today to talk about a couple of movies, and a very interesting director. I'll start by having everyone introduce themselves, starting with the man on my left here.
I'm Cade. Thanks.
Yeah. You know what? Let me.
Oh my god.
Wait, what's going on?
No.
So are we just restarting, or are we gonna keep
No,
going?
no, you're good. You're good.
Oh, I
Hey,
thought
hey,
something
you.
bad happened because Kate started
No.
I'm
no.
Peter. Should we talk about the missing member real quick, or?
Yeah. So yeah.
Ben has unfortunately passed away.
Yeah, Ben
Yeah,
is dead.
he left after the first
I-
week we started our company because he didn't want to be a part of it anymore.
We recorded our
So sadly,
our
he won't be here
first-
till next week.
podcast episode.
He got run over
Yeah,
Well,
by
but not. It don't feel bad because it was like.
it was his fault.
It was
for
his
sure.
fault. It
He
was-
walked in front of a semi truck.
Yeah, it was funny.
It was funny. He did it for a dare, and he died with a smile on his face. It was
Yeah.
cute. It was
He-
kind of cute.
doing what he
actually.
loved. Doing what he loved.
So I didn't go to the
Yeah,
funeral.
And
so
that's
I
why
don't
he
give a
won't be
shit.
in any future podcasts.
So
except next week's.
yeah, I
So
hope he's fine next week.
He'll be fine next week.
so we watched a pretty interesting movie just now. Kate, if you want to give us maybe a synopsis, give us a little info on the movie we just watched.
Sure, here's my best synopsis for the movie.
Yep.
Wait, before you go, Lou or Cade, who's the host?
Oh, right. I should introduce myself as well. I'm Luke.
Now you can
Luke.
go. Hi, Luke.
Okay, I was just gonna do a stupid bit where I didn't talk, and then I was gonna be like, "Did you get it?" It's because that's silence.
Ow,
But then
dude.
Peter started talking.
You would have had
it's
me
fine.
cracking up.
I know, dude.
The
it's
audience
not
at
your
home
fault,
is in
Pete, but
I would have
tears.
been
it's
belly
like,
laughing.
just-
You can try it again next week.
Sorry, let me switch out of my porn
Yeah.
tab.
I swear we'll
Um,
laugh.
Hang on, I just fucking god damn it! All right.
Mm-hmm.
Dead Silence is a 2007 American supernatural horror film directed by the man himself, James Wan, a super influential horror director. I think most well known for the Saw series, and what's his other really?
The
The
Conjuring.
Fast and the Furious.
The Conjuring.
Yes, and the Conjuring. Yeah, the Conjuring multiverse.
Yes.
CCU.
Yes.
Conjuring Cinematic Universe. This movie stars Amber Valletta, Donnie Wahlberg,
Donnie?
Donnie Wahlberg,
Donnie
the
Wahlberg.
brother of Mark, and
Superior
Bob
brother.
Gunton.
Is Donnie the one part of the band?
The band?
I don't know.
Yeah, one of them. One of the Wahlbergs is part of New Kids on the Block.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Donnie is.
Is Donnie-
yes,
oh.
Donnie is.
Oh,
was in
wow.
New Kids on the Block.
I had no idea.
So
Fake fan.
I didn't know he was
You
talented.
probably don't even eat at Wahlburger that much. Do you?
I,
Had a
I,
Wahlbrew?
I have never had a Wahlburger.
they suck.
Okay.
They have a Ted poster in the bathroom, which I did not like.
Well, as Cade mentioned, this movie is directed by a man named James Wan, a guy who I think we could talk about for a minute. Probably one of the most successful filmmakers of all time. I would
Yeah.
think, at least monetarily.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
thing I wanted to say about him is he a good director? I feel like either his movies are pretty
Really?
good, or it was like I'm spoiling what we kind of watched.
Yes, really interesting director because he actually has a very distinct style. I think.
Yeah, we were talking about it during the film.
Recently, I think a couple of us watched the movie *Malignant*, and that was a movie where you could definitely tell it was the same.
Yeah.
Same guy. this movie felt, I think, very much like a predecessor to that one in particular.
What color filter did he have?
Blue.
Malignant was
Malignant
very
is
like
blue?
blue and red.
Yeah, Malignant was red. This is a blue movie. There's a few. James Wan makes a few kinds of movies. It's kind of like Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
It's like there's blue movies, there's red movies.
Green
There's
movies.
yellow.
some
I
movies
heard
are
he's in the
green.
works of a white movie,
Oh,
which
finally.
it's going to be controversial.
That's gonna be a good one, though.
Mm.
I'm really nervous about it.
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
People are not excited for it.
But so yeah, one of the most successful, like Kate said, influential directors ever.
And he's Australian, which I didn't know.
I
I
didn't
did
know that.
not know he was Australian.
James Wan doesn't really sound like an Australian name.
No, it's but he directed Aquaman famously, to go from being the creator of Saw 1, which is a low budget horror film that kind of blew up, to
had a
most
roller
recently
coaster.
directing Aquaman 2
And
yeah,
one.
and 1.
He doesn't fuck around.
No, he
Is kind of like the Stephen King of horror movies. He's just like churning out a shit ton all the time. He has a literal cinematic universe of horror
He has
movies.
two.
Yeah.
Cinematic universes of horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And he is just, I mean, what do you do when you have all that power?
So he
And
has.
And he's done Fast and the Furious. We can't gloss over that either.
That's right. He directed
Yeah.
Fast 7, which is maybe the best one.
And he just walked
six.
off of 10, was it, or 11?
Was
that
that was
him?
Justin Lin.
That was Justin
Oh,
Lin.
no.
You racist man.
No.
Wait,
no,
is he really?
Fuck.
I didn't hear about that. That's
Uh,
interesting. What word did he say, Cade?
I was racist because I
'Cause you
confused
missed-
two
you just-
Asian directors.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were saying Justin
Yeah.
Long got racist and he got kicked
No,
off. I'm like,
no,
what did he
no,
do?
no, no.
I need to excuse myself. I've been canceled from the podcast.
Already
Pulling a
canceled.
Ben right now.
I'm
So
sorry for being racist. I
interesting,
just wanted to come out and say that.
it's interesting to kind of track the critical reaction to his movies, because he's not a director that ends up at the Oscars. I'm not sure if he has a single movie that is just universally beloved.
Probably Saw. I think the first one.
Maybe the first Saw, but even
And
that's a
Spiral.
movie that like a lot of people would be like maybe squeamish to.
Yeah.
So
I'd be screaming in my screaming in my pants.
screaming myself.
I screamed myself when I first watched that movie.
No, I'll say I want to say one last thing about Justin Long. Or not, James
No,
Long.
you're both
No,
racist.
No, but you were talking about like what his demographic was, and I remember I was watching this movie. It was a bunch of I'll say it, high school kids.
What? What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'll say it. I was watching movies with minors.
There's nothing wrong with it. We're friendly. We were watching The Nun. That was the first Conjuring film. They were having a hoot. They're going through all the Conjuring movies and stuff. And when I would go to the movies, I'm a big boy, so I would never go see those movies. So I feel like the high schoolers going on dates and stuff for those movies. You put their arm around them and you go, "You scared, honey? You scared?"
It's one of those.
I feel like that's your demographic. You're not gonna be getting like you might get like some of our people our age, but you're not getting like the 30 and 40-year-olds. I feel like going to these movies.
So yeah, it's interesting to compare his horror movies though to other kind of dumb popcorn movies. One, for example, that we watched this past week, Pete and Ben and Kate and I watched the movie Slender Man. Kate unfortunately dropped dead on the floor
And I
about
said-
15 minutes in.
This was supposed to be
Yeah.
actually the second episode of the podcast with Slender Man, but
yeah.
we had such a great time that
Well,
we didn't do it.
Yeah, Cade fell asleep, and I think the rest of us wish we had, because it was the most just horribly, horribly boring movie. That it wasn't even interesting to make fun of. I think I would have rather. I certainly would have rather watched this movie, Dead Silence, because I think these James Wan movies, they have some of the stupidest premises, like even going up to like Aquaman.
That's the charm behind it.
Yeah, they have these stupid premises, these very flat characters that I think towards the beginning of the movie you are really inclined to dislike. And then towards the end he manages to make these really he manages to turn them into something really fun to watch. And that was the case, I think, with Dead Silence, as well as his other movies like Malignant and Aquaman, where it's almost like the characters, even though they're not very interesting.
Debatable on Aquaman.
Yeah, the movies are kind of carried by their most interesting ideas and by their execution. And Dead Silence, I think, is a great example of that.
No, it definitely is. What I would say is like we were kind of talking about before. This is like, I can't imagine being scared watching a James Wan movie.
They're
Yeah,
fun.
I said the name
They're
right.
very
Yeah.
fun horror
They're fun.
movies
They're
to
fun
watch.
movies. Like, I can't imagine being scared, but I'm I'm belly laughing the whole
Yeah.
time. The kills are silly, which we'll probably get into in a second. But like I know earlier I was like, is he a good director? I feel like he's a pretty good. He knows his niche, and
Yeah.
I think the Blumhouse guys, like, they know their niche, which I think are the same people that do Conjuring, but still.
Like ridiculous action horror is, I think, his niche, and that's exactly what this movie is. Should I get into the plot?
Yeah.
at all?
Yeah, give us
But
a
It
synopsis.
starts off like just right out of the gate. You've got this guy and his wife, and a package shows up at their door, and there's a evil puppet inside, and it kills his wife.
Yes.
Boom. The
Like in the
story
first
is
10
started
minutes.
like right then and there. The rest of the movie he spends dragging this puppet around, basically going from his dad's house to the cemetery to the like police station,
Hotel.
hotel, just
So-
driving around with this puppet to try and
But I feel like he's
solve this. He's being also
So-
framed for his wife's murder.
Yes.
I feel like he glossed over a part with the puppet killing it. The puppet kills you in a way that makes you look like a puppet after.
Well, your tongue gets ripped out.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, a man and his wife, they receive a mysterious package. The puppet seems to kill his wife and rip her tongue out. The man then returns to their hometown. I believe it's his and his wife's hometown.
Oh, I didn't know about the wife. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
And because her body goes there, I think, because they have her funeral there.
Yeah, but like
So-
4 people showed up though.
Yeah, her family completely irrelevant.
They don't
None of
care
them
about
are
her.
concerned or upset about her horrific murder, but they gloss over that. So Kate's correct. They kind of spend the movie moving between like 4 locations in this hometown. Each of them pretty interesting. I wouldn't say any of them were boring. Some of them don't make a lot of sense, like structurally, but they were all like complete sets, like huge sets.
Yeah. This
Really detailed.
movie cost $20 million, by the way.
Yeah.
And just barely made back its budget with
Damn.
$22.4 million. In
So
the box
kind of a
office.
flop.
Pretty big flop, yeah.
Which
And pretty
is,
mixed reviews across all boards.
so yeah, let's we can talk about that for a second.
Yeah, well, would we review it? Is that what you want to get?
Just real quick, it's got like a really bad score on Rotten Tomatoes at 21%. But on Vudu, it's got like a 3.8, and on IMDb, it's got a 6.1. So like the
On
reviews
Amazon, it had a
don't-
4 out of 5.
It had a 4.5 out of 5, I think. The reviews don't make sense at all. Yeah, on
Yeah.
Amazon 4.5 with 3,000 reviews, and then right next to it you've got a website with reviews, and it's got 2 stars. Like, it's just reviews all over the board,
Yep.
and it makes sense because I feel like this is a movie that some people are gonna hate. Because like I said, the plot is ridiculous.
Yeah, it feels like a movie that a lot of people would probably roll their eyes at.
It's
I and at the beginning of it, I'm tempted to do that as well. Like, right away we're introduced to the idea that this is like a killer doll movie, which, as we learned exploring Amazon, there's
Yeah.
a ton of really cheaply done, really terrible doll horror movies. It's a whole genre.
Yeah.
And a lot of them all do the same things. So when this movie starts and you realize it's a ventriloquist dummy movie, I think my personal temptation is to be like, okay, I know everything that this movie is going to throw at me.
Right.
I am already ready to dismiss this, to not enjoy this. And I think that by the end, I had come around completely to enjoying it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It threw me for a loop. There was no, I was really worried the puppet was gonna start running around.
I wish it did.
I
He
almost
never
wish it
really
did.
I kind of wish he did. Yeah,
I did get my
But-
one thing where he got shot in the head with a shotgun, which is pretty funny.
that was cool. Yeah.
But yeah, kind of like you were saying, Luke, about the predictability of this film when you started watching it. I feel like I knew pretty much what was gonna happen. For the most part, I feel like. 'Cause I remember the first thing I said to you was, the doll looks like, if you're a Goosebumps fan as well, it kind of reminded me of Slappy, the Goosebumps icon, you could say. And there's a book, you would know this, Cade. It's it's about Slappy's family. And there's 100 of them, if I recall.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of reminded me of that book. I know you're a big Goosebumps fan
Mm-hmm.
and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, even though this movie to me was pretty predictable, I had way more fun than I would have thought I did watching this film. It was a silly movie, which is what I like.
and I want to clarify that it's not a movie where we were enjoying it just because we were laughing at it. I think a lot of the things I enjoyed about it really felt intentional, and I think a lot of there's a ton of work that feels visually present,
Definitely.
and it makes the fun parts of it feel like they're supposed to be fun. I felt like I was enjoying it for the right reason, so I wouldn't describe it as like a bad good movie. I would say that it's kind of a dumb great movie.
Yeah, it's just kind of I liked it. It was
Yeah.
good.
I feel like horror movies really thrive when they're just dumb. They're
Yeah.
dumb in premise. I feel
Right.
like a lot of the you could say great horror movies are just really stupid premise, like Guy in Hockey Mask with Knife, or
Yeah.
Guy in Mask with a
Zombies,
knife,
sure.
or just Scream, which is
Yeah.
another guy in a mask with a knife.
But yeah, it's so here's where it gets different, I guess. So it's this whole mystery. This guy is dragging around this puppet, and you think, it's the puppet that's killing these people. What they end up finding, what the mystery unravels, is that there is this woman that what happened to her? She tragically.
She's a famous ventriloquist.
She's a famous
in
ventriloquist with 101 puppets.
giant theater, all about her one-person ventriloquist act.
You can only get there via Resident Evil boat.
Yeah, that's right. You need to take a boat across a small creek to get to her
Foggy
massive.
boat, yeah.
It's kind of
theater.
like the vintage Jeff Dunham, you could say. It's just
Very
a ventriloquist.
It's very like Jeff Dunham horror movie.
And so
and-
Mary Shaw.
Which is
Mhm.
a
Is
real
this
person,
woman.
right?
I
feel like
I'm sure there's
don't
plenty
know.
of real people named that.
Well, no, I feel like there was like
No.
a little like horror. No, there's no more. No, I feel like there's a little like horror thing as a kid where it's like Mary Shaw or something. I feel like maybe I'm just imagining.
that could be real.
Mary
like
Shaw.
Maybe the movie
like a
made
Bloody
you
Mary
think
thing or something.
that it was real.
Mary Shaw
Maybe you were so
took
spooked
my
by the movie.
grandma, put her inside of a shark.
That is pretty scary.
I know,
Yeah,
man.
the doll.
Oh, bless you. So yeah, this ventriloquist woman, she's the most successful ventriloquist of all time, apparently, and she kidnaps a boy and kills him to turn him into a dummy.
She turns
Well,
him into a
There's
puppet.
a reason why she got kidnapped. He got kidnapped, which I think is a very important point to bring up.
He
Yes,
was
he's-
racist.
He kind of was.
He interrupted her show, her ventriloquist show.
Because he saw her lips moving.
Yeah, he saw her. Yeah, there's a long flashback scene and explains the whole backstory. But anyway, she's killed by a bunch of by the boy's family, and then her ghost is trying to kill all of the relatives of the men that killed her,
Yes.
and by ripping out their tongues.
And the part. Okay, sorry, I just thought of this.
Mm-hmm.
My monkey brain just thought of one of the coolest parts of the movie was the fact that the monster design it was
Wait. Oh no, I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
you're-
Go ahead.
it was pretty basic for the most part, but something I did think was really cool is like Lizzie Borden or whatever her name is, Mary Shaw, she would
Lizzie Borden.
yeah. She would take people's tongues and add their tongue to her tongue. So her long slithery snake tongue was just like a bunch of stitched together people tongues.
So when she stole
That was
people's
cool.
tongues, she would attach them to her ever-growing tongue.
Because it would gain them their voice.
Yeah, and
You'd
she would
control
gain
their voice.
the power
yeah.
to create their voice, which
Mm.
she actually didn't use that power very
Very much.
She
Yeah.
mainly used it for a guy named Henry, who we'll probably get to in a
Yeah.
minute. But I was like the only, and I guess like another person, which I won't spoil, but the guy at the
Mhm.
end of the film.
Yeah, so our main character is trying to avenge his wife, who he's trying to unravel this Mary Shaw mystery so he knows who get to the bottom of his wife's death, I guess, and clear his name. And also Donnie Wahlberg is there, and he's the cop, and he thinks that the main character killed his wife. So he follows him back to his hometown. He spends most of the movie like shoving him up against walls and calling him a murderer, until at the very end he joins him at the spooky theater so that he can blow away all the dolls with a big shotgun.
And one Molotov cocktail.
Yeah, I guess that was his whole, like that whole reason that he was set up and placed throughout the movie was
Yeah,
so that
that
he
was
could
it.
be there
So-
at the end blowing away dolls with a shotgun.
And I know what you're thinking right now is James Wan's other big doll movie, Jigsaw. Was he one of the
Mhm.
dolls? And I'm proud to say he is in the background.
There
during the scene.
was a
Therefore, this
Billy
kind of
Camp. I think the doll in Jigsaw is named Billy.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
is,
and I
that's
think
what I was
Yeah.
this puppet was also named Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
well,
really this
Jigsaw Billy
This
did make
could
a
be
cameo.
part of that universe, for all we know.
Could be canon.
It might be
The
last-
JCU.
Yeah.
James.
The James
Cinematic
Cinematic, the JWC.
Just James.
The James Cinematic Universe. Yeah, so Billy does make a little cameo. This guy does make a kind of a lot of doll movies. The first Conjuring introduces the Annabelle doll.
Yeah, you were telling me about this. Yeah.
And there's kind of a spooky doll sequence in that.
Which got its own spin-off movies.
Yeah, which has I think at least 2 spin-offs. I don't think he directed those, but he was probably involved. And yeah, this was just a pretty, as far as spooky doll movies, where I think the tropes and the things you expect to see are pretty well established. Like, he's sitting in a chair and the chair starts rocking, or he's the camera cuts away from him and when it goes back he's moved a little bit. These kinds of things show up in movies that aren't even necessarily just about spooky dolls. Like, I'm pretty sure it happens in It and a ton of scary movies. And all that stuff is there. And maybe even a couple times early on I thought it was a little annoying, but that's not the primary spectacle of the movie. Those things those things are happening, but the movie isn't like calling attention to them like oh this is the scary thing.
I'm scared.
I think that feels just like almost like they're like, yeah, this has to be part of it.
Yeah, it's more of like a reactionary thing. Like, you see a mirror and you're gonna look in the mirror and it's like, oh yeah, there goes Billy.
A lot of mirror. There was a couple mirror things.
There's a lot of mirrors. There's a lot of eyes slowly turning.
Yeah.
So many of those. So many shots of puppets.
Yeah, take a shot.
Slowly turning their eyes.
Every time a puppet
you do
slowly turns its eyes.
You'll be dead by the movie.
Yeah, you'll be dead silence.
There was one.
You
I don't know.
will be dead silence.
We're already pretty. I know it might sound like we're already pretty much near the end of the film, which we are discussing pretty much, like, plot wise. Just in the grand scheme, like, they go, Mr. Wahlberg dies.
Yep.
In spooky.
Yeah, that's another sort of
theater.
aspect we didn't talk about was the screaming. She only kills you if you scream.
Yeah, and he did scream there.
There's like a saying. It's like Mary Shaw is a dog.
She's Mary Shaw. She'll rip your jaw if you scream.
Turn you into a doll.
She'll turn you into a doll.
And then you'll be a doll.
But yeah, he gets,
it's basically that.
Yeah, that was really good.
There were the couple people who, like, obviously screamed and died like a normal horror movie. But then the very last person, pretty much, after Mr. Wahlberg died, there's one person left.
Yeah, do we want to... Yeah, we'll spoil the whole movie. It's an old one. I think we all recommend it. So if you want to watch it without a full spoiler breakdown, then I'd recommend just pausing here and go
whatever
watch
you're
it.
thinking right now, how this could end,
Spoiler alert.
it will end that way.
Spoilers.
So yeah, our protagonist at the end of the movie, he screams and dies. He screams and dies.
Which is really interesting.
He finally lets it go, man.
So
He lets it rip.
Throughout the film, you don't really see them that much. You see his, like, dad and his very young and attractive stepmother, might I add.
So okay, thanks for that. Pete, explain why the protagonist screams at the end.
Did he scream at the end?
He does.
Yeah.
He screams, "No!"
I was.
Yeah, he screams at the end.
So I maybe blanked out during the last, it seems like, 2 minutes of the film. I was
probably
more,
the best part.
I was
probably,
more so in
my
my
favorite.
head talking about the father.
Yeah.
So
no, that's
so why?
partially
Yeah,
why
that's why he screams.
Really?
What? Okay, so do you not remember this?
Explain.
Okay.
What's the father's deal?
Okay, so throughout the film, like 3 times you see the, like I said, his attractive wife,
Standing behind
I
him.
think
Standing
here goes a
behind
stepmom.
kind of with her arm hidden, and the father in a wheelchair, not able to move.
He's got even a bow tie, a ventriloquist
Yeah,
dummy bow
it's
tie.
it's
He's,
like it looks like a
dressed
ventriloquist. And then so Shocker at the end of the film, he's a puppet. He's the 101 puppet.
So yes, his dad, the main character's dad, turns out to be a big meat puppet.
He's all hollowed out on the
Yeah,
inside. He's got a big wooden bowl.
yeah. Okay. So one of the ending was fucking great because they
I
have
saw the part we're about to talk about, and then my brain shut off.
they show that the main character's young stepmom has been puppeting his dad, his meat puppet father.
Yeah.
And talking for him, and his dad has been a puppet the whole time.
I just want to say before you say this too, it was funny because I thought this part was really funny because we all figured it out almost immediately. The first shot of this guy with his wife standing behind him, his eyes don't move normal. Like, he looks like a puppet. We were all just like, yep, he's a puppet. And as soon as she walks away from him, he falls asleep. And, it was just like, and then so basically what happens is, the main character figures it out, and then there's this huge, like, montage flashback moving super fast of all the moments.
Saw-esque montage.
Yeah, it's like the big reveal where, Jigsaw is like,
like, I was secretly,
I was in charge of this the whole
put the
time.
key in your ass.
But the reveal here is, he's got a dad, he's got a hollow dad with a tube inside of him.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a part of the movie that it seems like
They
only
eat dinner
exists to throw you off of
It's
him
really
maybe being a
weird.
puppet, because there's a scene where the dad is eating soup. And
She's feeding him soup.
The woman is feeding him soup, and he's like, delicious. And in the flashback,
You see the reverse
shows
shot.
behind.
they show the reverse shot of the soup going down a tube in his mouth into a little
Into a
like
little
petri
bowl,
dish in his tummy.
And it makes like the gross like like noise when it goes down.
And it's so funny. And it's also like it must have been a ton of work to make that prosthetic. It must have cost a ton of money to make that doll for that end reveal, and then to have the like gimmick of him eating soup must have been so expensive and like time consuming just for that one thing.
Well, I remember when we saw that, you were sitting next to me, Luke, and I was like, I told you the only reason this is in the film is because James Wan was like looking at a cut of the film and went, "Oh my God, the problem with this film is gonna be he ate soup in one scene. How do we explain that? Like, where did the soup go?"
So you theorized that he
added that
he
last
forgot
line.
about the soup eating scene.
Oh fuck!
Oh, the soup. We gotta explain it. We gotta
I
show it
prefer
forward.
to believe that he did that on purpose just because he wanted to like he just liked the idea of the soup going into a secret bowl.
Yeah.
Like that's
Do you think
it
it's
was
the same?
so funny.
Think she just recycles the same soup?
Oh yeah, she just keeps feeding him the
Just
same
keeps
soup
using-
over and
she
over
switches out the
again.
bowl each time.
Yeah. But yeah,
And-
so it turns out his stepmother is the
Mary
ghost.
Shaw.
Is Mary Shaw. She's the ghost.
doll.
She
She
Mary
is the
Shaw,
dolls.
She's the doll's walls. And she at the end he discovers the hole in the back of his father.
And that just sends him over
And
the
he,
edge.
and he goes, "Oh no!" And he
I
finally
mean,
screams.
he knows the rule. You can't scream. And he just
the whole movie he's
loses
not
it.
screaming at anything. And then he finally screams at the end, and Mary Shaw.
Kills
the movie
him
ends
immediately.
with she kills him
Okay.
and turns him and everyone else in the movie into dolls, and that's how
That's
the
it.
movie ends.
There's one thing I want to say about the ending too. I just thought of. So throughout the last like quarter of the movie, it's made apparent, at least to me. Like I said, maybe I'm wrong because I completely forgot the main character died. But he says that like she says like she can only like transform into other dolls or something, take them over. But she's, like I said, the attractive mother is not the grotesque beast with the many tongues. So she like morphed into her. So can she just morph into other people?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that's right. It was not explained at all.
unclear.
It doesn't appear that the stepmom was
A doll.
A doll.
I don't know.
She
think
was
she just was.
the old woman ghost in a disguise.
Also, they never talked about there's a crazy lady like they're always in these films who knows more than she's let on to be.
Yeah.
And then they never explained their connection.
Yeah, she's kind of like the lady with the log in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Where she like knows things, but she just acts crazy.
Yeah.
And talks to actually an inanimate object. She carries around a crow and whispers to it and stuff.
Yeah, and they never explained the connection there really, other than her having a connection to like a guy that dies randomly in the film.
Yeah,
which are probably like my two complaints in the movie, those two scenes. And then I know you're going to talk about something else in a second, but I also want to say my last complaint because I'll keep going. It's the music in this movie. We were clowning on it a bunch. The music's not good in this movie for a horror movie.
Oh yeah,
it's really generic.
Extremely derivative of like the Exorcist theme and the Halloween theme.
Goosebumps.
Like it seems like they were like the director was literally like just do the Halloween theme, but like just a little different.
A little different, yeah. I just need like a horror synth.
Yeah, and it seems like an attempt to create like a horror theme, like an iconic horror theme, but you could mistake it for one of these other more famous horror themes. So yeah, I would agree the music was
I think James Wan learned his
bad.
lesson too, because like this movie has really bad generic music, but like
Wait, this movie came out in 2007.
Yeah.
That just came out in like 2018.
No, this is old. This is an old movie.
I can't pay. Maybe the unrated version came out then?
Oh, is that what it said on Amazon?
It said like 2017 or something. That's why I'm like, this movie just came. That's why I kept saying this is part of the Conjuring universe when we were watching it.
No, okay, so this was I think this is one of his earlier movies. I don't know.
Saw came out like 2003 or something. I feel like. But this might be like his first like non-Saw movie.
Yeah, this I think I would guess was his first movie after, because I think he did Saw 2.
Oh, you watched them all recently, no more than I do.
I don't know which ones he directed. I mean, he was involved with I think all of them.
The roller coaster.
But he I would think this is his first movie after like Saw.
Yeah, that makes sense.
After Saw became like a huge hit franchise.
He got bored of Billy, wanted to do a new Billy. I get it.
Yeah, so he made a new puppet movie. So yeah, this movie got a lot of.
I think this was after Saw 3.
Okay, so after Saw
Dead
3,
Silence.
Saw is already a huge franchise at that point. Saw probably one of the biggest monetarily successful movies ever because it has like a tiny budget and it obviously blew up.
Yeah.
And this movie apparently it came out, no one saw it. People, critically panned. I don't know if it's just because like maybe maybe James Wan's like style wasn't as established then. I feel like knowing this director really well makes this movie more of an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, now knowing when it actually came out, my view on the film is slightly better because I'm like, man, he did all these other movies I kind of liked, and he did this. I'm like, dude, what happened in that movie? But now knowing this came out way before everything else, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, so this was one of his first-ish movies. And it's interesting because he's gone on to make, I would say, better movies, but then recently he made Malignant, which I would say is pretty in line with this movie.
Yeah.
That movie I think I liked more because it gets, like, the action sequences in that are just hilarious.
They're
and
so absurd.
amazing. Yeah.
That's what I mean by James Wan learned his lesson, like with the soundtrack. This is like a kind of generic synth soundtrack. Malignant, it's the same thing, but it just goes way harder. That's the same thing with the visuals too, or it just
That movie
just
soundtrack.
goes wild, wicked, insane at all times. And Dead Silence did that most of the time, but every once in a while it was like a little.
Should we give it?
All right, so yeah, let's. I think we talked about it quite a bit. Do we kind of want to give our individual final thoughts?
Yeah, I think we can do that. And we can get into what next week film will be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
the most exciting part of the podcast.
Yeah, we'll roll for the next movie.
What? Any closing thoughts and a number you want to give it?
So, yeah, I think I was pleasantly surprised by this. I didn't know it was directed by James Wan, but as soon as he popped up in the credits, I was immediately a lot more excited to watch it, a lot more interested. I was rock hard.
And of course, now that stopped a little at the end.
I think it would be a shame to kind of dismiss this movie based on its premise or even based off the first 20-30 minutes. Maybe just stick around to the end. I think I would be surprised if someone was completely bored.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a fun watch. The music's pretty bad. There's some really funny editing choices also. There's some funny transitions, which I think James Wan is famous for, especially in his Saw movies.
A lot of going through the eyes.
Yeah. There's one part where he goes through. It zooms in into out of his eye, and then it does it again immediately after. But I think it was a fun movie. Thinking about Renaissance, which we watched last week, that movie was not fun at all. We couldn't. I think we struggled to even make fun of it. It was just
what is happening?
Blech. Yeah. And this movie was, I'd say nothing like that. Really fun to watch. Not a brilliant piece of cinema. But I think if you like horror movies, you definitely like this. And certainly if you're a fan of James Wan's other movies, like Malignant,
the Conjuring movies,
then you'll probably like this.
What number?
I would give it a 6, 7. I'll give it a 7.
Give it a decimal. Come on,
I'll give it a 6.9.
Yeah, see, it's different than a 7. So.
Yeah, I would give it slightly less than a 7, I guess. I don't think it's a movie that pushed forward cinema or anything. I wouldn't say it was a movie that blew my mind, but it was a ton of fun. And probably the best spooky doll movie I've ever seen. I like Child's Play 1. But yeah, this was pretty good. I was pleasantly surprised by Dead Silence, and it's definitely not. I definitely think it's not a 21%.
I'm cutting Luke off because it's been going on for 5 minutes.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Ken.
It was good. I'm gonna give it a 5.
5? No decimal? Just a straight 5?
5.1.
You liked it more than Remembrance, whatever we just watched? Renaissance?
What did I give Renaissance?
Renaissance like a 5.6 or so. No, you give it a 6. Remember, I kept clowning on you with my hero Dave Fortnoy always says, if you don't give a decimal, you're a pussy.
Okay, it was better than maybe a 6. I mean, 6.
Yeah.
6.9.
I'd say a 7.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty into it. I thought it was funny. It did what I wanted to. I went into this movie going after watching Slender Man as a really bad horror movie, I'm like, this is probably going to be as bad. And I had a really fun time. I think the atmosphere you're watching in is a big part of it. If I watch this by myself, I would probably rate it way lower. Also, now knowing when this movie came out in his lineage of films, I kind of excuse some of the problems I had earlier. So I'd say a 7's a good one. And kind of like Luke said too, this is probably one of the better doll movies. Definitely probably goes Puppet Master or Chucky than this one. I feel like it's a fun time. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that is an interesting note. The environment you watched it in, because the three of us watched it with my roommate and one other friend of mine, and we were all like cracking jokes and I think enjoying the absurdity of it. It's I think you would probably not enjoy it as much if you were sitting and watching it alone.
Unlike Resistance. Remember what the fuck was it called?
Renaissance.
Renaissance. I'm never gonna get that right. Where we watched it, and it was Ben as well, and the three of us, and it was still not fun watching it with other people, and Slenderman even more so. So yeah. I guess want to talk about really quick. Next week's film. I sent out a couple of I said a couple of ideas. I don't know if anyone agrees on them.
I didn't see. Yeah.
Oh, I told you. I just said it'd be funny if we watched like Postal or something. But
we can.
Wanted to watch some.
I also
Pete
have
wanted to watch some video game movies.
I have a random number generator.
I don't know if you want to trust me after last week.
So I say, how about we roll for our next 1 in 1,000?
If it's shitty, we can just
go with a Peter film.
It'll probably be shitty, but
I don't know. This one was
also,
good.
by the way, that was not one of the 1,000 worst movies
Yeah.
of all time. I would say that was far from one of the 1,000 worst.
Yeah, this is a very biased list. I feel like.
I'm gonna generate
anyway.
here.
It's not a very high number. It's like a couple off. From 278 to 298.
All right, 1 to 1,000. Let's see what we get. 599.
Oh, what if we got like the devil's number? That would be pretty crazy.
We will eventually.
I didn't want to say
All right,
it.
please allow me 5 minutes.
So,
Oh my god.
if you didn't watch the last episode, we decided to do it where we would have Cade do a random number generator, and then he would go on this list he found and look for it. But each page only allows you to look at like 20 of them.
So he has to scroll.
How many?
100 a page.
Okay, so we have to go 6.
I'm halfway there.
We have to go 6 pages in, and you can't manually click it or anything. So we have to stall for time. It seems like every episode for like 2 minutes as Cade flounders
scrolls
to find the
through.
number. Luckily, it's
$5.99,
so you just got to go to the bottom of page 5, which is good.
We're at page 5.
All right.
Okay.
Any guesses what it could?
$5.99.
Luke, before Cade says it, guess a genre.
Genre?
I'm gonna say romance.
Rom-com, yeah.
It is an action movie.
Oh
It
boy.
is Rain of Fire.
I like Rain of Fire.
Rain of
2002.
Fire. I don't know what that
I'm pretty
is.
sure I've seen this before.
It's the Dragon movie. I think I've heard of this.
The
Yeah,
Dragon
I do
movie?
remember
It's
this.
like a movie about fighting
Yeah, this
dragons.
movie's
It
awesome.
stars
Wait,
Matthew
wait,
McConaughey.
It's like
wait.
modern day dragons.
Let me see like a
just
poster
the
here.
plot is just dragons invade.
Yeah, it's like dragons invading New York or something.
a
if I recall.
brood. Oh my! It's London.
Yeah, it's
This
like a big
poster
city.
is like
We'll watch
it's
this
like
movie. Fuck
parody.
Postal.
The poster is dragons flying over London, and they're like destroying Big Ben with fire. Wow.
Ben will like this movie because he's a big fan of London.
So okay, so this has a
They named
6.2.
it after him.
Yeah, they named Big Ben 'cause he's a big guy.
I'll watch this.
Yeah, I think
Let's
I'm
go
down
ahead.
to watch this. I saw this on the Sci-Fi Channel when I was like insanely young, so I don't remember. I just remember dragons blowing up buildings.
I
Okay.
also have a feeling this is like not gonna be.
I know. We need to
Terrible.
find a new list.
We
or
need to
something.
find something
We're
like,
just like a
maybe a
mid
new list.
like awful.
So this,
We're gonna
this
scour for the
this is a
lowest
huge
budget.
movie.
Anyone
by the way.
here has a list, we'll consider it. But
Yeah.
until then, it'll either be a Peter movie or this. It seems like we do
Yeah.
not want a Peter movie.
So this movie stars
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale, and Gerard Butler.
Should we re-roll? Is this like a big budget?
This is a
Is- I mean, it might-
masterpiece movie.
Yeah.
But no one else is gonna watch it ever again if we don't watch
That's
probably.
it.
So it's probably gonna be Rain of Fire, but no promises.
yeah, yeah.
Watch Rain
We
of
might
Fire by
change our
next week's
minds.
episode, and you might
Fuck
be
off.
surprised on what we pick.
Yes.
So I guess we'll end. Should we just end the podcast here? I guess. I
So
don't know if
yeah,
there's any-
that's a clean 50-minute cut.
All right.
Was that 50 minutes?
That was 51 minutes.
Cool.
I
Okay,
think.
so we can go into Peter's part where he wants to talk about
Our-
last week's video. Last week it went
Okay.
really well. No one wanted to talk about it because apparently this podcast last podcast wouldn't have been out, but now it would have. So we did the Munge video. Any thoughts on the Munge video, Luke? I know you're a big fan of the cut I just showed you. That's sitting at my house because I forgot to export it.
I loved it. Listen, I watched the Munge video. I thought to myself, not only do I love this, but the audience is gonna love this. They're gonna eat this up like Sunday carrots, and it's one of the best. Better than Renaissance.
Well, you have any thoughts on it, Kate? You probably know more than Luke about it at this point. Anything
I
you
haven't
want to say
seen
about
it. I haven't seen it at
I sharted in my pants this morning.
all. Oh wow.
Dude, I want to talk. Whatever. My thing about the video, it's a pretty fun video.
Unrelated.
There's a
Is that what? Is
some
that?
fun
That you
Gmod
sharted?
sound effects in it.
That's unrelated. Wow.
We used a Gmod
How's that
car
unrelated?
been made. It's not a real car in Luke's old apartment, might I add.
Mhm.
They graciously let us shoot and put a car in, but that's actually movie magic. And that's a Gmod car.
It's gonna be. No, it's real. Don't tell it.
Dude, I don't know. I need to practice you guys in talking about the book. It's like critiques. You gotta talk about your film, you know?
I haven't seen it. I can't say anything about it.
You were there though. You stood next to me.
Yeah, well, we just shot an empty room. What do you want me to
What about
say?
the first part was like you made the website. Talk about the website.
I
don't
did
know.
make the graphics where our protagonist
The pirate website.
he's browsing pirate treasure and he clicks on a pop-up link for free Munge. And yeah, that was fun to make, I guess. That was a quick little animation, pulled up like a Windows 95 desktop.
What made you choose that kind of desktop on such a modern computer?
I felt mungier.
I like that.
Give me my.
Oh God, Kate, you're a mess.
Give him his wine.
Well, I got what I wanted. You know, I think we had a
Give
great
Kate his
discussion about
wine.
this week's film that we made.
Yeah.
Another one next week. We didn't actually film this week because we kind of forgot. But luckily, we have a couple in the bank already, so we should be pretty good. We're gonna film it next week. And
Yeah,
stuff.
guys.
So keep an eye out on our YouTube channel.
Yep.
Follow our Instagram account,
That's right.
which is
At Nondescript.
Video.
Nondescript
Club.
video
Yeah,
club.
Nondescript.
Video club at Gmail.
We haven't posted to it yet, but hopefully by the
I
time.
think we have a tweet.
We have a tweet. Yeah.
We
Oh, I
have
didn't
a
know
thing.
that.
Go like our tweet.
I don't even follow the Twitter account, so
We-
really, it's kind of.
Well, that'll be it
Motherfucker.
for our Dead Silence episode. Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be back next week to watch maybe Reign of Fire or maybe something else.
It'll be Rain of Fire.
I'm gonna put my penis in a tire.
He's gonna put
Oh, Keith.
how about we all do a little sign off
Hold on.
and Pete, oh man, that was a big one.
Maybe like a napkin or something.
Motherfucker was
You
loaded.
guys do sign off, so I'm gonna go wipe my nose.
Oh, he's gotta wipe his nose.
That was his sign off.
Yeah.
All
go
right,
ahead,
we'll see you later,
Kate.
Pete.
Go ahead, Kate.
And I will see you later. Signing bye.
Signing bye. I'm Luke. And it's over.
This was it.
It's over.
Oh God.